What is a paradox? A paradox is a statement that is self-contradictory on the surface, yet seems to evoke a truth nonetheless. It comes from the Greek word paradoxon, that means contrary to expectations, existing belief, or perceived opinion. If this were in sci-fi, then it would involve the space-time continuum and getting stuck in an endless loop. Such as this little alien here, who just wants to visit his grandmother, who died a couple years ago, and travels back in time, but that simply doesn't work. Why? Because then his grandmother will have seen him, and then it'll mess up time and that sort of thing. I mean, it breaks the fabric of the universe in a couple of sci-fi films and TV shows. A paradox is most definitely a trope, which interacts with words, phrases, or images in a way not intended by its normal significance. The first example is, I am nobody. Now, I'll let you reflect on this for a moment while I catch up on writing. How is this a paradox? Well, looking at it, I refers to definitely a person who is indeed somebody. I am nobody, meaning the absence of being a person. So how can I, a somebody, simply not exist? It simply doesn't make sense. Or it shouldn't if it wasn't a paradox. It's self-contradictory, but it creates added depth to the statement and to the communication. Example number 2 comes from George Orwell's Animal Farm, and it says, all animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. How is this a paradox? Well, if all animals are equal, then how can some be more equal than others? It isn't exactly equality then, and so it's a paradox. I'll demonstrate again. If animals are indeed equal, but some are more equal than others, it's like saying that pigs are equal to horses, and horses are equal to cows, which is what it's saying. All animals are equal, but then pigs aren't equal to cows is the some are more equal than others sort of idea. It doesn't make sense if you're thinking of it in the literal math equation sort of way, but as a rhetorical device, it adds depth to the statement and creates a connection to a bigger idea. Example number 3, from Hamlet, written by Shakespeare. And Hamlet says, I must be cruel to be kind. Now, cruel and kind are sort of opposites. Cruel is being sort of an awful human being to those around you, and being kind is to be helpful and generous, and those are not equal to each other in any way. And that creates the paradox. But in some situations, it could be kind to be cruel. The fourth example is from the lyric, My Heart Leaps Up When I Behold, by William Wordsworth. And he says, child is father of the man. And I miswrote it here, but it is child is father of the man. Now, it's sort of communicating that children are the parents and the foundation of mankind, not that children literally father their parents. And that would be horrifying and not good. And it doesn't make sense if you take it literally, but if you take it figuratively and in the context of it, it adds joy to reading. So what is the function of a paradox? Well, oftentimes authors will use paradoxes to spark interest in the reader's minds and captivate their audience for a little bit longer. It is mostly to make us, the reader, happy and engaged in the text instead of, staring off into space.